Hi, everybody. I just realized that my shoes didn't clean the room. Hi. It's good to see everybody. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Venus. I always love when I get here and there's conversation happening already. So, yeah, okay. I just picked up my cat because my cat was here in my chair, and I know y'all all love to see him. And I tried to make him stay, and he jumped out of my lap, and it like covered. It looked like I was wearing like a fur coat or something. So then that's why I'm out of breath. Because right before it started, I ran to the bathroom and like lint rollered my shirt, and now I'm here. So it's good to see everybody. I've got a list of questions that people have sent in that we're going to talk about today, but feel free to put questions in the chat for me too. It can be about me, it can be about autism, it can be questions on, I don't know. I'm open to any topics today. So it helps me out if you list it as all caps like this. In the chat, you can see where I posted that. So that just helps my eyes find it whenever I'm searching through everything. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Lauren. I hope everybody is having better weather than Texas, because I don't even know. It feels like 112 outside, maybe. That's not an exaggeration. So anyways, yeah, so what's been going on? I was in Florida last week. There's not going to be a new video this week because honestly, I've been a little burnt out with work stuff. And I have to say that I'm kind of in a place where the channel now has proved that it can kind of sustain itself, which is great. And so I'm trying to take a breather and figure out where I want to go from here next. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to help the community, the best use of my time and energy and resources. So the next week or two, as I'm as a mom prepping for the kids to go back to school, I'm also going to be just kind of hanging back a bit and doing some brainstorming on where I want to go with the channel next. So you may have noticed I've taken down one-on-ones for right now. I have to turn my fan on. It is so hot. So one-on-ones are paused probably until September. There's a few of you who snuck in on my calendar, which is great. I had one of you this morning. So that's fine. But one-on-ones will probably be back in September. Back to school already. Yes, my kids go back on August 14th. So back in Texas, we go back to school pretty early. And what I really want to talk about today is my new How to Unmask course, and we'll get to that in just a second. But if you missed it, it's the first link in the description. And so my How to Unmask course, I'm really proud of, because this is something I've been working on, I think, since January. The thing that has changed my life in realizing that I'm autistic is that I've just been able to accept myself and feel like I can stop researching for reasons why my brain is different. And I think along with that, it has been this practice of, I think kind of synonymous with unmasking is having healthier personal boundaries, being more authentic about what I want and what I need, communicating my needs directly. I think all of those things go hand in hand. And psychologically, I think it makes a lot of sense, because as we develop a stronger sense of self and stronger communication skills, stronger boundaries, it improves a lot of things in our lives. And so all of those things go hand in hand with unmasking, which is essentially just kind of the practice of not doing things that we do to make other people feel more comfortable. So for example, masking could be like you really want to stim, like maybe you're feeling nervous or anxious and you feel like you need to rock to kind of soothe some of that anxiety in your body, but you don't because you're worried it's going to make the other person uncomfortable. Okay, so that's a version of masking. Another way that we mask is by kind of downplaying what we want to talk about because we're worried we're going to say too much, or we're worried we're going to info dump, so we just don't talk. And so my course kind of goes into it's an exploration of 5 different sections. Okay, so the first section is what is autistic masking? The second section is how is autistic masking different than what other people experience? I use the word allistic. So if you're new to that term, allistic is non autistic. The third section is reasons that autistic people mask, which tends to be kind of an emotional section because I think people for the first time kind of realize how much they mask. So it kind of highlights all the ways that we do that. The fourth section is the benefits and consequences of autistic masking. And then the fifth one is how to unmask. And so this course is a work in progress. It is I've made it with a lot of love and a lot of intention, but I know that it has room to grow. And so right now for the first month, I have it set at like an introductory price because I want the first wave of course participants to go through and give me all the feedback. Okay. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. I want to hear what is working in the course, what needs to be different. Like, I would really like some honest feedback on section 4 and section 5 because while I was recording it, Beltray was in my lap. And this is a really good microphone. And I'm realizing how good it is because it picked up his purring in my lap while I was recording. And I need to know if it's too distracting. So that kind of feedback, because I'm planning on maybe adding a section or two based on y'all's suggestions, because I really want it to be a way that I can support the community and we can support each other. The other major element of the course is that there's an online group. And if you've had issues joining it, hopefully I think I've got most of it ironed out now. But there's a private online chat discussion group. And I'm all for doing hard work and self-discovery on your own. And sometimes, unfortunately, we don't have the support system that we need. But I think that really incredible transformation happens whenever we connect with other people who are going through similar things. And so the course, I designed it so that we could connect with other people while we are processing all of the stuff that we're processing. So the discussion group is a chance for us to kind of share our discoveries with each other, comment, ask questions, kind of help people delve deeper into their self-discovery. And that's a really, really important part of the course for me. In fact, that's the whole reason why I think some of you may remember I was looking for an online platform and I was researching it heavily last year, a platform that can host courses, discussion boards, digital products, and y'all were helping me research that. So that's why I've decided on Podia, because it can bring a community aspect to the course. Okay. And then also, so you've got the video instruction, you've got the community discussion. There's a guidebook that has guided questions that kind of take you through each section and take you deeper through it with like journal questions and questions for reflection. And then I also recorded a meditation. I've never done that before, but I think it's an 8-minute meditation that you can listen to whenever, that's centered around just kind of making peace with yourself and finding comfort in who you are. And I'm interested for feedback on that too, because I've never made a meditation track before, even though I do really love meditation and I get a lot out of that in my own life. So anyways, all that to say, oh, I love seeing all the conversation happening over here. We have all different topics happening in the chat. That's great. Hi, Lee. Hi, Mary. Hi, Spear Dagger. So all that to say, for the rest of this month through July, the course is at an introductory offer of $48. That includes everything and you have lifetime access to it. But beginning in August, it's going to bump up to the price where it's going to stay, and that's going to be $127. So if you are interested in the introductory offer, just make sure that you check that out before August. And again, the link to that is in the description of this live stream. Okay. Somebody asked, let me look up one of the questions that was sent in. Okay, Kelly CDB said, sorry, my auxiliary monitor is not working right now because technology is technology. Okay, Kelly CDB says, if I am comfortable, know what I'm doing with the actual unmasking itself, but not sure how to handle what to do about others' negative reactions to unmasked me. Does the course cover that? Or is it more about the actual unmasking and finding yourself? I would say it does not specifically address we're talking about psilocybin in the comments. I love it. I just glanced over and saw psilocybin. Okay, we're talking about hallucinogenics and meds on the side, cannabis. All right, we'll jump into that in a second. So let me get back to my train of thought. Okay, so the course does not directly address how to deal with other people's reactions to our unmasked self. But I personally feel that the more confident we become with who we are and the more peace we make with ourselves during the unmasking process, that kind of mitigates in a way. Mitigates might be the wrong word. It helps us deal with other people's reactions, because if we can feel more centered and confident in who we are and the version of ourselves that we're presenting to the world, we're going to naturally start caring less about what other people think of us. So no, it doesn't directly address that. I still think it could be helpful to you, and I will take that into consideration, because that would actually be a good kind of bonus section to give some specific tips on how to deal with that. So I appreciate the suggestion and the food for thought, and hopefully that answered your question. Woodshed theory. Hi, Claire. Woodshed theory, Claire, is the course good for any gender, or is it geared toward women? It is open for all. I don't think I used any gendered language in it. Yeah, it's open for everybody. I know that I'm mom on the spectrum, but there's a surprising number of men who participate in my courses and programs, and I love it. It's great. It's for everyone. It's for all people. And I try to be very open-minded in my approach to things so that I am very inclusive, because I know that there's a particularly large segment of our community, in the autistic community, that's queer, that is transgender. There's all different types of presentations of people in our community specifically. And so you're welcome here. And I hope that my content makes you feel welcome. And if not, I'm always open to suggestion, because it's my hope that you feel like you're safe in the community that I'm creating here. So good question, Claire. Lauren Seacrest, you said cannabis is a no-go because you live in Texas. Okay, you can get, here's maybe a news flash for some people. I'm in Texas. You can get cannabis with an autism diagnosis legally in Texas. Also in Texas, legally, and again, I'm not going to tell you whether or not you should try cannabis. I'm not a doctor. I'm not recommending anything to anyone. Okay, I'm just going to tell you what I've learned. There is something called Delta 9, which is, don't quote me on any of this. It's THC derived from a hemp plant rather than a cannabis plant. And you can get that legally. Like, I got it at a very nice shop in South Lake, close to me. Like, I just walked in off the street. It was a reputable shop, and it has, they'll tell you in the shop that it's going to give you the same effects that cannabis THC gives you. So I know, since we're on this topic, that a lot of people in the autistic community have received a lot of benefits from cannabis because it can lower anxiety. I will say that you have to be very careful with it, as you do any mind-altering substance, including psilocybin, which somebody mentioned earlier. I don't have any experience with psilocybin. But you have to be very careful, especially with marijuana and THC, because autistic brains in particular, we can have paradoxical reactions to medications, to supplements, to herbs. I don't know. I made that up with herbs. But there's more studies coming out showing the paradoxical effects of medication in autistic brains. Okay. So, and some people feel really paranoid when they have THC. So I would say, if you're going to go down that route, first of all, do it legally. And there are ways to do it legally in certain places. I can only speak for Texas. But start really, really low, and probably take it with somebody that you really trust that is not also imbibing. Because for me, it helps me have peace of mind just to know that somebody's there to soothe me, like if I get paranoid. Because sometimes I do get paranoid on it. So, I guess for me personally, like, I haven't noticed that much benefit from THC because I like to be in control. I like to I don't like to be out of sorts at all. Like, even if I'm with friends on the weekend, like, I just don't like I like to be able to make decisions and to think clearly, and THC, I feel like a lot of times I replay the same thought over and over again in my head, but can't ever complete it, and so it feels kind of it's not a great feeling for me. But there are some people there's there's one person in, one of my online classes, she said cannabis changed her life. Like, she is forever grateful because she can do things now that she could never do because cannabis helps her feel calm enough to be able to be around people. So, all that to say, it's just like anything, like, you have to judge for yourself how it works for your life. My advice is just do it legally and start very small. It's not especially with edibles, if you take an edible, those can take a really long time to kick in, and it's really tempting to be like, "This isn't working, I'm gonna take more." Don't do that. Okay, just don't do that. Um, Start small. So, I don't really know how we got on that topic, I just looked over and, saw the talk over there. Um Yeah, we're talking about antidepressants too. That's a good point because antidepressants do tend to have paradoxical effects on our brains as well. Temple Grandin, if you're familiar with her, she did suggest, I have it written down somewhere. I'll try to find that article. Temple Grandin has written about, I think, two antidepressants and a blood pressure medication that have had beneficial effects on the autistic community. So maybe you could Google search that and find her findings on that. But yeah, antidepressants can work paradoxically for us, so you got to be careful. Um, you were talking about ketamine too. Okay, I don't know what vibe we have going on here today, y'all. Maybe it's a Friday. I don't know what kind of mood y'all are in, but I'm here for it. I will do my best to only talk about things that I have experience with. So I'm not going to be too much help because I tend to play by the rules. And no judgment. I mean, like, you do you. Mr. Daydreamer, you said, Taylor, you mentioned that extreme eye contact can make you stim. What kind of stims? In my own case, extreme eye contact can give me this weird compulsion to touch my face. Ooh, I think I do that. Yeah. There's eye contact makes me uncomfortable when it's like new people or people that I'm not close to. There's very few people that I can like make prolonged eye contact with. And I think I've told y'all on the channel, like, most of the time, if I'm just talking to you in conversation, I'm probably looking at your cheekbones. I don't know what it is. It's just like if I'm looking at someone's eyes, and conversationally, okay, I'm mostly thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at their eyes, I'm looking at their eyes, and I can't really focus on the conversation. So I would probably say for me, there's like hair twirling, because that's one of my go-to. I play with my hair a lot. I have I love these rings. I've been trying to partner with them, but they don't have an affiliate program. Boo. But this is Boho Magic. I'm not affiliated with them, sadly. They have these spinner rings, and I love them. I have one on my thumb, and I have one on my. This one broke because I used it too much. But I'm always fidgeting with these. So yeah, I do touch my face a lot. And while we're on the topic, like this has come up with other people too. Like I have to press against my face when I'm sleeping. So like I kind of sleep with my hands up here because I just like the pressure of having something on my face. I don't know, it's weird. Lo-fi music. My daughter has been obsessed with lo-fi music. It's very chill. Venus says they hate drinking because they get very autistic. I think last time I drank too much, I started speaking Spanish. And I don't know that much Spanish. Um, oh, there's a bunny outside my window. Yeah, a lot of people saying THC makes you paranoid. I know like the more minor form of that is CBD, but to me CBD like doesn't I think when I've tried it before it's just made me very tired. I do not like feeling tired. I really really hate feeling tired. And that's part of why I don't really like THC either. I don't like feeling tired. If I'm going to be like with people, I don't want to be tired. Vlog girl says they touch their face a lot too, but it sucks when they wear foundation. My makeup is always coming off. Yeah, I always have my hands on my face. And I'm a germaphobe too, and so I think about that a lot. Like I wash my hands a lot because I know I touch my face a lot. You can do face contact? What does that mean? Oh, like you can look at people's face. I was thinking like, "Hi," like grabbing somebody's face. Maybe that is what you mean. That'd be interesting. Um, okay. Erin, Ehren, would you share your thoughts about things that can help with the job application interview process? Okay. I recently went through the interview process last semester. I was interviewing for tech jobs, software development, engineer stuff. And there, what I've learned is that the interview process sucks. And I had intense panic attacks that were really bad. But I would suggest like especially the tech companies now are getting better because a lot of autistic people work in the tech industry. Um, there are little disclaimers at the bottom, and especially a lot of bigger companies, where if you need accommodations, here's an email address to reach out to. I would just say contact the HR department at the company um, before you have the interview and let them know that you'd like accommodations. And more companies, again, they're having more systems in place to support this and accommodate this. I think one of the tech companies, SADA, that I was interviewing with, I believe they even kind of had like a pre-screening thing where you could talk to an HR person and kind of share what accommodations you needed and they could answer questions. So some things that tend to help people, autistic people in the I almost said audition process because I'm a musician at heart and that's when I'm thinking about getting a job, I'm thinking about auditioning rather than interviewing. So auditioning or interviewing, comfortable clothes helps. Knowing exactly what to expect helps. So asking if you can know the questions beforehand, which isn't always possible. Doing it in writing rather than face to face, having your camera off and just being able to have a voice conversation, having a pet with you. These are all things to consider, and really it's just going to be a personal preference. But I do know that having a conversation before the actual interview and being direct about what you need can be helpful. There's a website. I don't know if it's a global website, but at least in the US, there's a website called Glassdoor. And if you go to Glassdoor, it's basically like behind the scenes information about lots of companies. So I was interviewing with, was it Fidelity or Charles Schwab? I think it was Charles Schwab. It's hard to say. And it gave me like people posted on there the interview questions that they had. People posted some of the like algorithm questions they had with like software development stuff. They posted salaries. They posted yeah, all kinds of stuff. So Glassdoor is another good research tool because I feel like the more you know going into an interview, the better. Those are my thoughts right now. And I would just say give yourself plenty of, while we're on the topic, I feel like I'm talking really fast. Emma Sharman and I did my most recent video over executive dysfunction. And speaking of executive dysfunction, I completely lost where I was going with this. We're talking about the interview process and okay, spoons. Okay, so we were talking about, many of you are probably familiar with spoon theory. It's basically the idea that we have a certain amount of energy and resources available to us every day. And certain activities drain those resources more quickly than others. So let's say that I start the day with 20 spoons and I'm feeling particularly overwhelmed that day. It might cost me 3 spoons to brush my teeth because it's just like a sensory, like it's an upsetting sensory thing for me that day. Um, so kind of knowing what's going to cost you spoons can be helpful in planning. So like with the interview process, those took so many spoons for me. Like it's one of those things where if an interview is on my calendar, that's the only thing I can think about, right? Maybe my interview is at 3 p.m., but the only thing I'm going to do all day is think about the interview and I can't really get other stuff done. So I can manage my spoons knowing that, okay, this interview day is going to take so much out of me. So I've got to rest up before the interview. I've got to, do regulatory things that make me feel good. Maybe I need to nap. Maybe I need to go outside for a walk. Maybe I need to take a bath. So there's this idea too that you can like store up spoons to use for big events like interviews. So Emma and I talk a lot more about that in my most recent video. So if you go to my homepage, it's like the first video that you're going to see. I think it's like executive dysfunction in the workplace. So check that out. She is wonderful. If you haven't seen her guide, she created a totally free guide called Executive Dysfunction in the Workplace. No, workplace adjustments for executive dysfunction. And it's free. It's organized so well. And actually, probably reading that, going through it would give you more ideas for how to prepare for an interview and know what kind of things to advocate for. I've said so many words that words aren't making sense to me. Lisa says a tech company that they know has an indie support group. I've heard from other people in tech companies that they have indie support groups because that's where a lot of neurodivergent people are. So you never know until you ask, and the HR department can be a good place to start. Ashley Jen says, how do we know how much energy spoons we have? I can't figure it out. Ashley, it's a little bit arbitrary. This theory was developed by Christine Miserandino. If you just Google spoon theory, it's going to take you to her website, and she has far more information for you. But I think for every person, it's different. And she originally developed this theory to support people who live with chronic illness and chronic disability, to kind of illustrate what it's like to live with a chronic disability where you're always waking up and having less to give than everybody else. So it's kind of arbitrary. And I feel like actually for me today, I woke up and I just was in a really good headspace. I noted it. I was like, "Oh, I'm thinking really clearly today. I feel energetic. I slept well." So I would say today I have more spoons than normal. I don't necessarily need to put a number on it. For me, it's more a monitor of knowing if I'm at full capacity or low capacity. And another really important thing I think about spoon theory is that it's important to not end the day on zero capacity, because if you give totally everything that you have until you're spent, that's a really hard place to recharge from. But if you get in bed and you still feel like you have a little bit of reserve left, that's going to help you out the next day. And I know this is all a bit just kind of energetic and not concrete, and I know our autistic brains like concrete, black and white, yes, no. But definitely check out Christine's work because she's done a lot of writing on the subject. And I focus less on the number of spoons and more on kind of like high and low capacity, if that makes sense. Hang on. Okay. Okay, Lauren Seacrest. My husband is undiagnosed with autism and afraid if he gets diagnosed officially, HR and his boss will start finding ways to bait him out should he still get diagnosed. Getting an autism diagnosis is such a personal decision. I will tell you that, so I consulted one of my psychologists, my diagnostic psychologist, about this. And if you get an autism evaluation / diagnosis through a medical provider, and you use insurance to cover that process, the only people who will be aware of a diagnosis or no diagnosis is your insurance provider. And they legally cannot disclose that to anybody. From what I understand, this is me talking to my psychologist. So there's no way that your work could demand to see proof of your diagnosis. If that's something that he wants to share in order to get more accommodations, I would say, and actually my video with Emma would be good to go back and listen to because we talk about this. You can start by asking for things without using the label of autism or being autistic. More of like, you're wanting to bring your best self to work, do the best work that you can. I need to be in an environment where I'm not next to the copier because it's too many sounds. There's too many people coming in and out, right? So you can have conversations like that where you just address specific things, like specific changes that can be made to help enable you to work more productively. Maybe you can bring lamps into your space so that you can turn the fluorescent lighting off. That's like a super big trigger for me. I hate fluorescent lighting. So I would say if it's the type of work environment where you can go to HR or go to your boss with things without using the label of autism, that sometimes can be the best first step because there's so much stigma around autism. There's so much misunderstanding about what it is that as soon as you use that word, people have a picture in their head of what to expect and who they think you are. So I would just say if they do, if in some world they do start trying to weed him out because of his diagnosis, that's really shaky ground. Like they can get in a lot of trouble legally for firing anybody based off of a disability. I use the word disability here because that's in America, we're protected by the Americans with Disabilities Act. Autism is under the ADA. So whether or not you identify with it being a disability, I sometimes use that word when we talk about workplace accommodations because that's kind of the vernacular that we need to use to understand it sometimes. I'm going to take a breath. So many words. So many good questions over here. I like what Backyard Golf said about spoon stuff. Spooning is spooning. I like just making it a verb. Spooning is pacing yourself for what you can say yes to and what you can say no to. I like that. And I think that has to do with masking too for me. Like I'm learning that the people pleaser in me says yes to a lot of things that I don't want to do. I actually feel like I've gotten a lot better about that in the last year or two. So it all kind of goes hand in hand. Spoon theory, unmasking, it's all connected. Let's see. Okay, let me get into some of the questions that were sent in on social media. And then I'll come back to some of the stuff in the comments. But I was going to tell y'all, on my private online community, like the discussion, sorry, that was probably really loud. People were talking about headphones that are helpful. First of all, let me gather my thoughts. These are not, so this company I am affiliated with Flare. They have some awesome earbuds. These are not the kind I use. I use a kind called Calmer that just kind of like take me from here to like here. I can still hear everything, but it's like it negates the high and low frequencies and makes everything more even. But people on the private channel were asking questions about like headphones that are really good for sensory overwhelm to like drown out noise. So I'm not affiliated with Bose. That'd be awesome. Maybe I don't know. I could reach out. But I got these on Amazon Prime. They are definitely an investment, but y'all were mentioning these in the group, and I have to say that I support the recommendation. So the Bose noise canceling headphones, they're pretty amazing. What do they call it? ANC, like auxiliary noise cancellation or something. It's pretty amazing. If somebody's sitting next to you and talking, it sounds like they're very far away. So if you need if you need help with drowning out sounds around you, check out the Bose noise canceling headphones, because it's something you kind of have to just experience. I've never tried earphones like them that do such a good job of drowning out noise, and they have a really good sound quality. Okay. Yeah, I was going to go to the questions from social media. Okay, Daff_Sarah asks, how to get out of a bad mood, acknowledging your feelings and honoring them at the same time. And I think that this is a really good question, because you actually are answering a lot of it in your question. You said acknowledging your feelings and honoring them at the same time. Okay, so y'all are probably tired of hearing me recommend the book, The Body Keeps the Score. But science is really proving that it's so fascinating that our emotions get stored and trapped in our body if we don't fully experience them and express them. So it's very important to create space to feel through things and not stuff your feelings down. I think we're starting to learn this and understand this. So when you're in a bad mood, the first step really is to acknowledge it. Just to be like, I'm in a bad mood right now, right? Like, call it out, acknowledge that it's happening. And then it's been helpful to me with learning emotional health to just reassure myself, like, there's a reason why I feel this way, right? I'm not overreacting. I'm pretty calm and level-headed most of the time. Like, there's a reason that I'm in this mood right now. And so I try to retrace my steps and kind of think about how I got there. And many of you have probably heard me say there's two kind of opposite sides of the coin for me. You can approach it with judgment, or you can approach it with curiosity. So when you notice yourself being judgmental, like, why did I react that way? Why am I being so upset right now? Why am I being so impatient? Whatever it is. When you notice yourself being judgmental, see if you can catch that and try to flip it and come from a place of curiosity. I wonder what caused me to feel that way. Just kind of inviting more of that curious energy rather than judgment can be really helpful for retracing your steps, figuring out how you got there. And then just letting yourself feel it. Like, don't resist it. If you're going to be grumpy, like, let yourself be grumpy. And then a couple of things. Body scans are really helpful. So if you like to learn about mindfulness and connecting with your body, we can do it right now. Do you want to do it? You can do it with me. This is my new favorite thing. So I'm going to sit with my feet flat on the floor, and I'm going to imagine my spine lengthening up, like the crown of my head's being pulled up towards the ceiling, and my spine is long and straight. And then I'm just going to set my hands on my knees, and I'm just going to take a deep breath. And actually, if you're doing it with me, just take a really deep breath in through your nose and then blow out like you're blowing out birthday candles. And then we're going to do it again, but when you inhale, just be kind of mindful of any tension that you feel in your body. Again, no judgment about it, just be curious. So big inhale. And it might take you a couple breaths to feel anything or notice anything. I tend to hold a lot of tension in my hips. So hips are a place where we store relational tension and stress. And obviously I've been through a lot because hopefully it's not a shocker because I've talked about this several times now, but going through a divorce this past year. And so there's a lot of relational stress that I'm healing and recovering from. And a lot of times that stress is stored in the hips. So once you kind of identify where you're storing stress in the body, for a lot of people, it's here in the neck and shoulders. You can inhale and kind of visualize your breath going into that spot. So I'll do that. I'll stop talking for a second. So big inhale and just visualize your breath going into a tense spot of your body. And then when you exhale, just imagine all the tension leaving. Okay, so it's a very abbreviated exercise. I know when I first started practicing this kind of stuff, I was like, this is BS. um, when you're coming from a place of extreme trauma, and many of us have dealt with, are dealing with CPTSD, complex post traumatic stress disorder, it's a journey. It's not like, oh, I took 3 breaths and I'm better now, right? It's a journey. It's continued exploration of where you're holding tension, of being kind to yourself, of being curious. So I hear you if you're hearing me and you're like, Psh, this is BS, like this isn't going to help me. It's probably because you've experienced so much that there's all kinds of pent up energy and stress and trauma that you're dealing with. And I'm sorry that that's where you find yourself now, but just trust the process, and don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to heal everything. Because I know for me, like, I just wanted to do all the things. I wanted to read all the books and I wanted to do all the meditations and the yoga and, uh, you know, everything. But it gets to be too much. Like, just be in the moment, make peace with the present moment. Y'all, I hope I'm not too all over the place today. But where my mind is going now is like, when we experience stress and anxiety, we're focused usually on either something in the future that has not happened yet or something in the past that we can't change. Okay, so stress and anxiety is usually one of those two things. Grounding yourself in the present moment, I know that's a lot of buzzwords. When we focus on being present right here in this millisecond of time, we're not in the future or the past. There's no stress because we're just here, right? I'm here in front of my microphone talking to you, and so one way that we can ground ourselves in this moment is focusing on the information coming in through our senses, because we experience our senses in the now, right? We don't experience our senses in the future or the past. I mean, I guess we could get really meta, but no. Okay. So what are you seeing? What can you touch? Like, explore, what's the quality of the thing that you're touching, and what do your clothes feel like? It sounds simplistic and like weird and woo, but I promise you, like, the way that you ground yourself in the present moment is by experiencing life in the most real way that you can. And one of the best ways to do that is through our breath and through qualifying the information that we're bringing in through our senses, like getting really focused on it, kind of like on a molecular level even. I don't know if that's making sense. So when you're feeling that stress and anxiety, identifying that, like, in this current present moment, nothing's hurting me. There's no threat. Like, I'm worried about something that's going to happen, which probably normally never does. Like, there's been so many studies that show that, I don't know what the numbers are, like 80% of the things that we worry about never actually happen, right? Okay. I'm getting to the point where I'm like only hearing myself talking, and I'm kind of like just hoping that this is making sense. Complicated grief. Ooh, look at this conversation happening here about the body working through emotions. I love it. Oh yeah, I guess I forgot to clarify what kind of headphones. I think they are what Venus said. Bose noise canceling headphones, quiet comfort, I think. Mary, thank you. That compliment means a lot to me. I am definitely an educator at heart. I love teaching. Y'all are so sweet. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Peter. I love this community. I just feel like autistic people are I love our directness. I love our straightforwardness. Do you know what I wish is that, like, I wish, and I know I can get better at it, but I wish we could all handle truth better. Like, it's so refreshing to me to just be able to speak exactly what I'm thinking and feeling. Like, it's a gift to me to be in a community that values truth and honesty and is like, I'm just going to tell you straight, right? So I love this community. I love the commitment to justice and like everybody wanting to support each other and validate each other's experiences. Okay, let's talk about this. Wait, hang on. Ooh, okay, okay. There's so many good questions. I'm just trying to figure out which ones are accessible to my brain right now. LVMM, how do you know who the real you is? Such a deep question, right? I talk about this a lot in my course. Like, this is one of the main things towards the end. And everybody, if you want to go on this journey with me, you're invited. Think about a time when you felt very at peace with yourself. Like, you were in the moment, you were the full expression of you. Like, I don't know, maybe it was at a birthday. Well, that's probably not the best example for us because most of us don't like big birthday parties. You were in your element. Okay. You felt alive. You felt like you were thriving. Think about how that felt in your body. Most of the time, some words that you might describe that would be openness, centeredness, joy. There's kind of like an ease, right? Probably your breathing was natural and not restricted. Think about a time, if you have the capacity to do so, when you were heavily masked. Okay, if this stresses you out, no, go there. You were pretending to do something, say something, be something that you didn't want to be to make another person comfortable. What does that feel like in your body? That feels constricted. It feels, you might notice that you, like evolutionarily, that's a big word, evolutionarily, 7 syllables. We have protective movements that we make. Like, if you move forward, this is like a very protective posture because you're like protecting your internal organs. So you might notice that you kind of hunch forward. Um, when I'm heavily masked, my voice changes and I get a little bit more soft and like it's a more masked voice. So your voice might change quality, your body language might change. You might feel more constricted. You might feel like breathing is harder. So I would say, how do you know your true self? It's when you feel that openness and you feel that sense of being centered and grounded. And for many of us, maybe we've masked for so long or it's been unsafe to really embrace who we are, um, that we don't know. We don't know that feeling, or it's been so long since we've felt that feeling. It's been so long that we've actually felt at peace with ourselves. Acknowledge that with kindness and gentleness and curiosity. And sometimes you have to figure out who you're not before you can figure out who you are, if that makes sense. And the picture that I was thinking about with this the other day, it's like cleaning your closet out. Sometimes you just go in your closet and you're like, I hate everything in my closet. Like, this is not who I am. I haven't worn these clothes in 2 years. I don't know this person that used to wear these clothes. So you get out all the clothes that don't fit you and that don't feel right. And I'm speaking metaphorically now. But it can kind of be that process too when you start unmasking of, well, let's figure out who I'm not, right? And so you might try, I don't know, you might try a new hairstyle and you go out and it just feels totally bizarre and unnatural and not you. So you just make a note like, that's not it. That's not who I am, right? That's kind of a surface level example, but I think in your body, it's like a frequency that you vibrate on. Like, I think in your body when you're being your true self, and in your body when you're pretending. And the more you become aware of that, the easier it becomes to be aware of that. Does that make sense? The other word that really helps me here is bracing. So there's an Instagram account I like to follow called the Holistic. What's his name? Gotta give credit to where credit is due. Holistic, where are you? Life navigation. Holistic life navigation. Where's my live stream? Okay, I lost myself. He talks about this concept of bracing. Okay, so bracing is like, brace for impact. You're in a car and, you're bracing for impact, whatever. But bracing can be like in real life too, when you notice yourself kind of tensing up and bracing for a certain situation. That's an indication that you're not like at home in your body. You're not kind of honoring your wants and needs. So those are my thoughts there. Good. I'm glad that was helpful, Louise. Hi, Ralph. Glad you're joining us. Hi, Erin. Hi, Kate. Ooh, I've never heard of NSDR before. Non-sleep deep rest. Okay, very good for nervous system regulation. I love to hear it. And the thing that's really interesting about being autistic in this day and age is that there's all this hype and research going into nervous system regulation right now, related to autism or not. People are like getting on the bandwagon when it comes to emotional and nervous system regulation. So this is great for us, right? We're learning more about the importance of honoring our emotions, which sounds really woo and whatever, but it's important. It changes everything. When our nervous system is regulated, it totally changes our abilities and what we can spend our time focusing on, spend our day on. Okay, let me see what other questions. Okay, I got the social media ones. Let me see if there's any more. You're welcome so very much. Emma, yeah, I did have other questions about ADHD versus autism. How do you know if you're one or the other? I'm not literally Googling this right now. But Embrace Autism put a statistic out. Oh, I cannot type and speak at the same time. Where's the statistic? Okay, this is from Embrace Autism. Upwards of 50% of autistic people also have ADHD. Okay, and I feel like that statistic keeps going up. Yeah, Holistic Life Navigation is on Instagram. So, first of all, a psychologist is going to be able to help. A good psychologist, a well-informed psychologist, is going to be able to help you differentiate between ADHD and autism, but there is a significant overlap with ADHD and autism in the autistic community. I have a video that I've done on kind of the overlapping symptoms that might be helpful to you. Again, I'm not a doctor and I can't make any formal evaluations or whatever. I'm just sharing my experience. But for me, it's kind of hard to be like, this is ADHD and this is autism, right? There's overlap. For me, it's become less about pinpointing which is which and more about just kind of making peace with both of them. Like I understand the ebbs and flows of ADHD. I understand the ebbs and flows of autism, and they work against each other a lot of times, like so much. But I've become less concerned with labeling which is which and more just kind of making peace with both of them and understanding different tools and techniques for managing both of them. But yeah, I mean, I think it could definitely be helpful to seek a psychologist who is well informed about both of those things. And you can, before you pay for an evaluation, definitely ask, like, How many adults have you worked with? What do you know about adult autism? How is the research changing about adult autism right now? Like, have a conversation with them about current research. Just see what they know. And especially with women, especially with minorities, especially with the queer community, quiz them. What do you know about autism in the queer community? What do you know about autism in women, in late diagnosed women, whatever? If you're going to pay for an evaluation, you want to make sure that they know what they're talking about. And to help you out with that, I have a running list of providers that come in from people all over the world in my big autistic resource guide. I just put a link in the description. It's a donation-based guide. If you can't afford to pay anything today, just put a big 0 in the box when you get there. Some people email me and they're like, it's not free. I'm like, totally is free. Just put a 0 in the box. Download it. And there's a whole page for providers online and in person that can offer evaluations. If you go to a provider and they're rolling their eyes at you and invalidating you, no, don't give them any more of your money, right? There's a reason. This is what I remind people. There's a reason that you're resonating with the autistic community, okay? And it deserves to be explored. It deserves to be discussed. Somebody that you're paying to evaluate you should take your concerns, your ideas, your thoughts seriously. I have like a lot of videos over the diagnostic process and kind of how to get your needs met in that process. So check out some more of those for more information. Okay, we're getting recommendations for the state of Nebraska. Cool. Yeah, everybody put your recommendations there. Another one. So my diagnostic psychologist, her name's Dr. Laura Sanders. And she was in Texas, but she moved to Colorado. And honestly, so many of y'all have gone to see her that she's now licensed in I want to say 38 states. I can't remember what the current number is. So check out that nocoassessmentcenter.com. That's Dr. Sanders is the one who did my evaluation. And I think she's got a whole team helping her, and she's licensed in many states in the US. If you're international, check out embrace-autism.com. Lee, Dr. Sanders might be in Utah. I can't remember. Veronica, I literally Googled, am I crazy the other day? No, you're not crazy. There's a reason why you feel and think the things that you feel and think. And sometimes we don't get validation from other people, but validate yourself, and you are not crazy. Luis, and I'll close up here pretty soon. I just like talking with everybody, and there's so many good questions. This actually might be a good place to wrap up, and it kind of ties in with what I wanted to talk about today and I didn't talk about today. So Luis says, since autism, ADD, CPTSD, so many similarities, do we really need to know? My treatment and health lifestyle is going to be the same. Thoughts? Okay. Pause. The thing that I wanted to tie in today is that I'm honored to have this platform and to speak on autism, and I'm going to continue doing it. I'm going to continue educating myself and sharing what I learn. I'm also at a spot where I'm just kind of tired of talking about myself as an autistic person because I'm a person, right? And you can't be like, this part of Taylor is autistic. It's like, I have a Taylor brain, right? Every part of me is Taylor and every part of me is autistic. I can't separate it. So all that to say, I think it ties in with what Luis is saying, in that it has been incredibly helpful for me to have the vocabulary to describe my experiences, because it's connected me. The main reason is it's connected me with all of you. It's connected me. It's connected me with other people who can say me too, and then give me more words to help describe experiences that I didn't yet know how to put into words. So I'm definitely grateful for having those words, for having ADHD, autism, CPTSD, for knowing that vocabulary and understanding the implications of those things in my life. It's validated me. And I don't think, I talk with a lot of people in their 60s and 70s, honestly, who are like, does it matter at this point? I'm like, yes, it absolutely matters, because one day of validation is like you it's just, what am I trying to say? Don't underestimate the power of validation, of validating yourself and your experiences. It changes everything. It changes how you show up for yourself. It changes the things you say yes to in your life. It changes your opportunities. It changes how you interact with your friends and family. Um, so don't underestimate the importance of validation and getting the right terminology to describe your experience. I don't even want to say right, like learning terminology to better define your experience. At the end of the day, does it matter? I don't want to just give a blanket no, but I want to say, like, I think what matters is your ability to validate and support yourself, which I am now learning how to do without those terms, right? It doesn't, okay, I'm autistic, but I'm a human, right? And I understand that I need processing time. I need lots of time by myself. I need weighted blankets and safe foods that I can eat when I don't want to eat in front of people. Like, I understand I understand so many more of my patterns now, with or without it being attached to the label of autism. And so I think at the end of the day, what matters is your ability to care for yourself. And however you get there, I support that journey. So anyways, that's where my brain went with that today. And I think it kind of brings us back to just the how to unmask stuff. If you're still kind of on the fence about the how to unmask course, if you go through it and you decide like this isn't what I thought it was going to be, you can always email me and I will give you your money back for the course. I am not in this to like I want to price the course in a way that like allows me to keep doing this because I love it, enables as many members of the community to access it as possible, and also enhances your life, right? Like that's the main thing. My main goal is that you can love and appreciate who you are as a person without judgment, and that you can better understand your patterns, have more grace for them, build in more space to support yourself in your life. And that's what I'm here for, and that's what the course is created to do. um, so if you have any questions about the course, you can always email me too. Hang on. I'm currently considering hiring an assistant. I know I've been saying that for so long, but for real. Okay, so here's the link to the course. Here is an email address. This gets back to me, okay, but there is a bit of a processing time for me to return emails right now. So email me if you have questions about the course. The course link is there. If you get through it and you're like, this is not what I wanted it to be, email me. I will give you your money back. I sincerely just want to be able to give you to provide a resource that adds value to your life. So check it out. I have more on the page about what exactly the course is. And yeah, so I hope you know that it's my way of saying like you are a beautiful person and you deserve to be celebrated and validated and supported. And that is my way of trying to foster that with you, for you. And I'm here cheering you on. So yeah, all that to say, I am a little bit burnt out with like content creation right now. That's part of why I'm doing a live stream, because I really want to connect with y'all. Like I just needed to connect to my people. And I'll probably try to put out a new video next week. Yeah, I feel like there was something else I was going to share. If you are a business manager or like a social media manager person, I would really like to hire a neurodivergent business manager. Okay, because I need somebody who can help me with business strategy. And I'm at a point where I'd like to hire someone. So I know some of y'all have already sent your resumes in the past, but send them to this email address in the comments. Send your resume if you are a business strategist, because I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you, and I will work hard, and I'm excited about where we go from here. So something y'all could do for me, please, if this video was helpful to you, if you could give it a thumbs up, that helps it just come up for more people. And subscribe if you haven't already. I'm guessing most of you are subscribers because I'm familiar with your names. Oh, hi, Ursula. I just saw you're on here. So many great people. Okay. Well, y'all know that I'm not good at goodbyes and I tend to just kind of go on and on, but I'm appreciative of everyone. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the love. Thank you for, I get messages every day like that are just so encouraging that I don't even have time to question whether or not I should be doing this because all of y'all are just like, thank you. Anyways, I'm appreciative. I value your feedback and it means a lot to me. And be kind to yourself the rest of the day. Okay. I have to go. I'm going to say bye. Okay. Bye.